One of the newer controversial substances to enter bodybuilding is insulin. A drug that offers benefits to those in need has been transformed into another tool for building muscle fast in the sport. However, health professionals fear that it leads to major health issues and early deaths in the sport. Let's see what some top bodybuilders like Yates and Levrone have to say about the effect of insulin and GH on bodybuilding. Yates' opinion on insulin and steroid use. Bodybuilding legend and six-time Mr. Olympia winner Dorian Yates cautioned the younger generations about the dangers of steroid use. During his recent visit to a podcast, Dorian Yates spoke about steroid use and its long-term effects in different contexts. Yates has not opposed steroids as a means of staying healthy for older men. However, he has a different opinion on the rampant steroid use among young people, especially those who are not competing athletes. Considered one of the greatest bodybuilders in history, he scored 6 consecutive Mr. Olympia wins from 1992 to 97. Best known for his wide and thick back, Yates holds wins in 15 major competitions and second-place finishes. His 6 Mr. Olympia wins are 5th most in bodybuilding history, behind Lee Haney, Ronnie Coleman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Phil Heath. Since his retirement, he has spoken about the downside of steroid use in sports. Yates told the bodybuilding community that unless you're competing or over the age of 40, it's not a good idea to use steroids. He believes these compounds are used in excess, and athletes are becoming ticking time bombs. The bodybuilding legend also issued a warning in regard to using insulin for competitions. In the past, Yates revealed that he used steroids for over 12 years and acknowledges the harm they can cause in the wrong hands. Dorian Yates said, "I tell the people that I coach and help now, and I advise. I said, look, I'm always honest and I tell you the truth. Yes, I used insulin. Was it positive? In my mind, no, it wasn't, because you would start to lose a little bit of quality, not to mention the negative health effects. Diabetics that use insulin, I think, have like 10 years less life expectancy, so if you're using insulin and steroids and other things altogether, they're becoming a ticking time bomb. The purpose of bodybuilding is to celebrate healthy living and strengthen the body. However, many bodybuilders have passed away at a relatively young age over the last few decades." Dorian Yates highlighted this and said, "Your body can't tolerate this kind of stress as you get older. So we're seeing heart attacks and stuff with bodybuilders now in their 40s and 50s. It always happened since the 90s. There have been a few guys." He stated that steroid use has not only increased among people that don't even compete, but they're using higher doses than even professional bodybuilders used back in the 1990s. Steroid use comes with great incentives for people in the fitness, sports, and entertainment industry, as it enables them to perform their jobs better. However, a large section of young people and even school-going children are believed to be at least exposed to their use. It is also a noteworthy fact that the risk of using steroids outside professional reasons comes with a great risk with minimal or no benefits in the larger context. The 59-year-old further stated that steroid use is increasing with each generation. Yates argued that although it helps with recovery and gains initially, there comes a point when they don't add any value. He said, "I think each generation of bodybuilders is pushing the chemical envelope a little bit more. What I am told by people that compete or even don't compete, they're just taking it recreationally. I said, mate, you're taking more than I took for Mr. Olympia. You don't need that." Dorian Yates' comments might make one think that he is a staunch opponent of steroids irrespective of the circumstances under which they're used. However, that is not the case. Yates explained that steroids or testosterone replacement therapies are a great way for older men to lead a healthy life. His sole objection to steroid use is aimed at the young generation that resorts to it as the means to make gains and athletes who take more steroids than recommended by medical experts. During his time as a competitive bodybuilder, Dorian Yates took his fair share of steroids, insulin, and other gear. Yates talked about the first time he used steroids, saying, "I used GH during my contest phases. The first times I used it were for the 1991 Night of Champions and Mr. Olympia shows. I used 4 IU a day while I was dieting, and I can't say I noticed much difference in adding it in. For my off-season in 1992, I doubled that to 8 IU per day consistently and saw better results." He admits that he utilized these substances to create a physique unlike any other during his day. But since retiring from competition, Yates has radically changed his lifestyle. He has become a yogi, has changed his diet, and has downsized tremendously. Dangers of insulin abuse. Insulin is a hormone released by the body in the fed state, and it tells muscle cells to take up amino acids and glucose from the bloodstream. By taking extra insulin, bodybuilders can increase the rate at which amino acids enter the muscle tissue. Using insulin in this way is like force-feeding the muscles with protein and carbohydrates. Insulin can also act as a growth factor, stimulating muscle growth in a similar way to HGH. Modern bodybuilders are still chasing that legendary massive physique of Ronnie Coleman, but now there are new drugs that promise to bring muscle growth even fast. Insulin has become, to some, a necessary element to becoming larger-than-life bodybuilder. Bodybuilders who use insulin to boost muscle growth are risking brain damage and death. Although insulin is banned by the International Olympic Committee, doctors believe it is becoming increasingly popular among bodybuilders because it boosts stamina and muscle tone while being virtually undetectable, disappearing from the blood in just 4 minutes. Samir Banuts' opinion on insulin usage. Samir Banuts is seeing a trend in modern bodybuilding over the past few decades. To be fair, it's a trend we've all been noticing for quite some time now. Competitive bodybuilding is becoming more and more about excessive muscle mass. Pushing the limit on muscle mass is the goal of modern bodybuilding. Insulin can provide faster muscle growth and has become popular, but it can also have much more dire consequences when abused. In an interview, Samir Banuts argues that the focus on massive muscle above all else can lead to an impressive physique, but that physique will only last in the short term. He uses legendary champions like Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman as examples. Yes, they did both win multiple Mr. Olympia titles in the long term. Banuts isn't arguing that. But what he does believe is that both of these athletes looked phenomenal the first 2 to 3 years as champions, then started to look worse. Samir Banuts believes that even when used correctly, consistent use of insulin leads to short-term success and long-term failures. At worst, it can lead to serious health issues or even death. At its best, it will give you 2 or 3 years of an incredible physique, and then the quality starts to go down. He said, "It's insulin a ruin for modern bodybuilding. It's a ruin for bodybuilding." Kevin Levrone on steroid use. Kevin Levrone was born in 1964 and earned a spot in the IFBB Hall of Fame. He's competed in nearly 70 contests and won 23 professional shows. 2 of his nicknames are Maryland Muscle Machine and the Uncrowned King of Mr. Olympia, referring to the fact that he was the runner-up on 4 separate occasions. Levrone nailed it when he said the bodybuilding industry avoids talking about it, but fans and bodybuilders at all levels have no problem asking about it. According to him, fans wanted to know why the pros avoid the subject of steroids. The fans also hoped that their online personal trainer and nutrition supplement manufacturer could step up and talk openly about it and maybe start the ball rolling. Now, Kevin Levrone openly admits that he used steroids in order to compete on an equal footing with competitors who were completely on illegal drugs. The athlete does not claim that taking steroid hormones was a pleasant aspect of his career. He just, unlike the hypocrites, is not shy about the fact that there is doping in bodybuilding. He admitted to his steroid usage and has said, "I did my first cycle of steroids when I was 24 years old, almost 25, at 6 weeks out from my first contest. By then, I was a grown man and making all my own decisions in all aspects of life, since both of my parents had passed away. My cousin Chico came over to my house with a bottle of testosterone cypionate and a syringe and said, 'Here you go.'" Levrone considered GH to be a game changer, as did everyone else at the time. He said, "GH was still fairly new on the scene when I started competing as a pro. People made a big deal about it, and there was a lot of hype surrounding it. When I won the Arnold Classic in 1996 at 257 pounds, I used it twice a day every day for the last 4 weeks, right up to the show." That's all for this video, folks. See you another time.